Good morning. Um, I want to open up by saying, pray this be to the elect and to the Akim that's doing the work. Um, I had a kind of bad night, so I wanted to get up and just get something off my chest. We'll start off, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahawashi, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahawashi, Koholo, Yahweh, Bashem Bahasha, Kurakadesh, Bashem Basha, Masyak Yahawashi. Okay, I want to do a brief little study plan. I had a problem because every time I get on my Facebook and everything, it's been a lot of attack on our Mashiach Yahawashi, and the things he's done and how he suffered. And so early in the morning, I just got up. I'm still drinking coffee, but I just wanted to go ahead and get it in. Looking crazy, but I don't even care because this is about the Savior. This is about where everything comes from, and I just can't sit back. And a lot of cats ain't doing a lot of things on it. They too busy worried about their status and their status quo and stuff like that. I see them, but discernment is so awesome that we can see through it. But this, hopefully this will edify. This will edify the sheep, and I'm getting edified because I'm part of the flock too. So I want to talk about, they said that Christ wasn't real. They said that the Mashiach wasn't real. They said that it was made up and it was a fabricated story for slavery. Yes, it was. Slavery had a lot to do with it because, first of all, initially we are a spiritual type people who Native Americans, Hispanics, and the Latin. We are very spiritual people outside of the rest of these heathens that's out here and the real Gentiles, and so they knew that and they used it, but at the same time they knew who we were even way back then. So what I want to do is go through a few precepts, go through a few scriptures, try my best, work with me. Woo! Let's see. All right, first thing I want to start off is by saying that this is another reason why we know that the Messiah was real. It's because as soon as he was born, a mass load of babies were executed and killed in the land of Israel at this time. So we're gonna go to Matthew chapter 2, verse 16, excuse me. And it says that then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked and of the wise men, he exceedingly wroth and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and all the coast thereof for 2 years, old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. So once again, Herod, he was the man that was in charge. He was the Edomite in charge of as far as I know, in charge of the provinces of Israel. And so he went and he had all the babies killed that were 2 years old and under. So, I mean, I'm talking about, I bet you in the spirit world, it was just atrocious. And they said that the mothers were screaming and everything else like that. It just had to be, man, just walking in your house and just taking your baby and just thrusting it right in front of your face. Innocent blood, so much innocent blood shed. So that's something that you just can't fake, especially for a king of the greatest province, probably more so than Rome, almost ever in history at that time. So, okay. So we're going to go through that. The next thing I want to get on is just that I want to talk about, we're going to go to Isaiah 9 and 6. I'm, briefly paraphrase. We can go there. Let me go ahead and go back to Isaiah. Try not to make this lesson too long. Isaiah 9 and 6. Wow, that's pretty good. So the prophecy of the Messiah's birth, says, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and his government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called the Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace." Okay, that's Isaiah 9 and 6. And the world and the government was on his back. Okay. As soon as he was born, it was on his back. It's right here, and it did happen. This mass slaughter did happen in history. It's recorded also. And and a lot of guys always say that he's not the word. So what we're going to come through, I'm going to go to John 1 and 1. I'm going to go to John 1 and 1 right now. You can pause it, stop it. I'm set. Whatever you want to do, because I'm going to go through and take my time, but I really don't want to, but I'm going to anyway in order to get this message out. Okay. Sorry about that. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Okay. Uh, his father was Yahweh, which is the creator of everything. All things were made through him, and the Word became flesh. Okay. And the law through Moses, but grace and truth came through the Messiah. Okay, so everything was created. And I'm going to show you how this ties in, why I'm specifically saying these verses. Everything ties into what I'm saying. It's so simple, but I don't know why people make such a big thing about it. But he was the Word. He came in the flesh. That's what he said. That's why we have the Gospels. That's why it's so perfect, and everything that he did was so righteous to do with it. Okay. It says, I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life, which is John 14:6. Okay, the way is the gospel to me. How do I break down the way is the gospel? The truth is righteousness, and the life is the statutes and commandments, and that's what we walk by, and that's what we come into. Deuteronomy 8:1 is also a scripture that backs it up, because law is the life, is the way that we live. As far as my understanding is the way that we live and what we do. And now we're going to go back to Matthew chapter 5, verse 17, because the laws are very important. I always want to try to say the laws, this, but I'm just going to briefly put this out real quick. In Matthew 5:17 through 18, do not think that I come to abolish the law or the prophets, but to fulfill. So he came to fulfill the prophecies, not to get rid of the laws, because the laws it has so much to do with it, is with obedience to the Most High. Okay, but to fulfill, and if people talking about, well, he fulfilled, that means we can still eat pork and all that. Of course you can't. Of course you do the best. We're still in captivity, but you do the best to honor and respect everything. It said, because Acts 3:18, though Yahweh foretold by the mouth of the prophets, by the mouth of all his prophets, that Christ would suffer. That's what his fulfillment was, is that he was going to be the Word in the flesh. He was going to show us the way, but it was for him to suffer. Like he said, I did not come to abolish the law or abolish the prophets. Not at all. He came. Everything still stands in fact, because you're still getting judged. Regardless, you're still going to get judged in a moment of grace or not the moment of grace. It doesn't matter. You're still, what goes up must come down. The laws of attraction, everything still proceeds. These are underlined. These are the platforms of what everything is built on. So you're not going to get past that. Okay, there we go. And then it says right here in John 14:15, it says, if you love me, keep my commandments. So that's straight out of the Messiah's mouth right then and there, And then we're going to go to Luke 4:4. It is written that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word out of the mouth of Yahweh. So, paraphrase. So that means this word is what he ordained through anointed holy men to give us a record and give us a way of life and give us everything that we need on this world, because he knew that trial and tribulations were coming for us in a whole new light. Okay, I'm not speeding through, but I'm not gonna be sitting here for 2 hours doing this. All right, all right, and then we go back to John 14:20. In that day, you will know that I am in the Father, and you in me, and I in you. This is what the statutes and commandments, being obedient, repentance, being redeemed, grace, which is favor. All these things come together. Then, now we are in the fold, and it's also had to do with the Comforter. Said, whoever has my commandments and keeps them. Here go the law again. He's specifically stating. This is verse 14:21. Then it is he who loves me, and he who loves me will be loved by the Father, and I will love him and manifest myself to him. So they saying you can eat pig, you can do this, but how can you do that if you don't try to your best, your ability to keep the law, statutes, and commandments? How can he manifest to you? How can he send the Comforter to you? How do you show your love to Yahweh? through Yahawashi by being obedient because he followed the laws as well. Okay. Even the spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive. This is very important. This is verse 17. I'm going backwards. I'm going to skip this. Even the spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees him or knows him. You know him, for he dwells with you and will be with you. Now, this is what I'm talking about. It's talking about the Comforter, man. It's unbelievable, the Comforter. It's truly amazing, the Comforter. But most people don't even have the Comforter, and you never will have it because you're living in this world and you're not. The spiritual riches are better than regular riches. I've been poor in my life, but I'm spiritually blessed. And I'm getting money, so I'm not missing anything. But it's way more what I'm receiving. Okay. Now, they also said that Christ, there was some guys who said that the miracles of Christ wasn't real. Right now, I talked about his birth. I talked about the foretelling of him in prophecies in the Old Testament. I talked about the tragedy that happened about his birth. I talked about who he is. He was the Word. We wouldn't have this Bible without him, okay? We wouldn't have, we have the Bible without him, but the New Testament, and some other things I'm going to point out, okay? But that's in a second. All right, right now I want to turn to his miracles. Okay, first of all, he turned water into wine at the marriage of Canas. Canas, I think that's how you pronounce it. That was the first miracle. He did that in front of so many people, so it's documented. It's not like they just made that up. It were a large amount of people there that seen him do it. It was there and drank the wine that he made. Okay, then we're going to go to John 2:1. That is John chapter 2, verse 1. And many people witnessed. Then we're going to go to John 6:11. When he fed thousands with the bread loaf. These were thousands and thousands of people out there that were following him, listening to him, and getting healed by him, and were fed by him. So how can you say that didn't happen when there were all these witnesses in broad daylight? Okay. But that they say it's a figment, or it's an expression, or it's a calculated paradigm of philosophy. I don't want to hear none of that, because discernment, we already know. If you know English, you know anything like that, we already know what it is. Now we're going to go to John 9:9, where he healed a blind man. Man, he healed this blind man. And they brought him from the prayer. And they went to his parents because they couldn't believe he healed them. Come on, man. These people were going to people's parents. They were asking, man, he was getting the ultimate background check at all times on what he did. But some of these brothers out here, I love all you brothers because I like it how you diligently debating over the laws. That let me know that you're awake and you're doing your thing and I'm doing my thing too, and we're all coming together. But this totally dismiss and say that this man didn't do these things. And I'm gonna prove it again to you. Well, hold on, give me a second, because I'm finna bust you in the face real quick, because a lot of people out there downing because they're mad because they woke up and realized that he's a man of color, that we're the Israelites, and now they're trying to do everything to destroy who we are, that we're finally becoming mature and growing up from what we've come through. Okay, and then we go Matthew 9:18, when he raised Lazarus from the dead. Come on, man, people were there when they seen it, bruh. He raised a little girl from the dead, man. People were there when he seen, and you don't just raise somebody from the damn dead, bruh. You just don't do that, man, okay? You just can't do that. People just don't do that. The police, the doctors try to do it when they hit him with they try their best to try to mimic that with our $1 million, triple billion-dollar industry, but he just walked around and did these things, and people were there, and they seen it, and they documented it. Okay. And that was 4 days. John 11, raised the daughter from the dead, Matthew 9:18. Then we come back, he did it again, John 11, 44, and he brought Lazarus back after 4 days in front of people. Okay, now this is what we're going to get into, where I'm going to tie all these things together, because now we have Caiaphas, which is John 11, 45 through 57. But see, after he brought the girl back to dead, Lazarus back to death, they couldn't take it, man, and they took off and they told the scribes. This is the account of why they were talking to the scribes, because he says that some went to the Pharisee who told what Yahawashi had done. They couldn't believe what he had done, fool. Then gathered the chief and priests and said, what do we do? This man does many miracles and wonders. These people couldn't understand how he was. It was a known thing that this man was walking around doing things that people could not understand. They could understand, but at the same time, they were in that world. They didn't want to believe because all they want to do is fornicate and drink their little wine and have as many, and take advantage of little situations. The same thing these niggas do now. So they were smoking opium and all the smoking blunts, doing all the little stuff that these cats like to do. And all men and if we said miracles and wonders, and if we leave him alone, all men will believe, because they know people were believing. They know that people were seeing this, and without a doubt, they knew that he was real. Why would thousands of people follow you into a coast where you couldn't even get a piece of mind, a Kit Kat bar, and you just jump and say, man, I gotta get on this boat, man. He said, man, y'all meet me over here. I'm finna go over here, man. I gotta get away from these people, man, because I got them stressed, and I really got a lot of things on my mind. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just trying to do my Father's business. Slack it. Okay. The Romans will come to take away our place and nation. They were worried about, because once he became too big, that Rome was going to have to shut him down. They were going to shut everybody down. They were going to lose their little females they had on the side. They were going to lose all their little stuff they was doing. Okay. See, Caiaphas, the high priest, that one man should die for the people. A whole nation perish not, that Yahawashi died for the nation, also gathered together the lost sheep that was scattered. He said he's going to gather the lost sheep that was scattered, which is from abroad, which he told apostles. And he said that one man should die for the nation. Okay, and then we also know that in the book of Josephus, the book of antiquities, he's a Jewish scholar, and Yahawashi was written about in the first. Josephus was allocated to be alive 93 to 94 AD, several years after Christ, but in that same 100-year period as Christ, right? It contains, he wrote these things about the sacking of Rome and the burning of the temple. And in 70 AD, he did these things. And it contains two references, Yahawashi of Nazareth, and one reference of John the Baptist. This is complete documented history that Christ existed. Okay. Now, when I come over here, we also have another one it's called, he's one of the greatest Roman historians ever in history. And this is Tacitus, refers to the execution of Christ by Pontius Pilate, the authentic historical value. This is what an independent Roman source of the crucifixion. Paul Eddy and George Boyd, chapter 23:20 in the second book, and this records the death of James. He records the death of James, the suffering of those who killed him, because something happened to the people that did the thing to James, to avenge James the just, who was the brother of Yahawashi that was called Christ. So he documented his brother being killed. So how can you say that Christ doesn't exist when this guy wrote about him and the historians wrote about him? This is verbatim in history. Okay, now I'm finna get into this real how I tie things, because first of all, it's like this. We're gonna tie prophecy into prophecy real quick, and I'm gonna get through with this real quick. Okay, first of all, we're going to go back to John 11, 1 through 44, when he talks about, so one man should die for the people, for a nation to gather the lost sheep gather. First of all, I don't need this book no more. Nigga, there ain't nothing that's made in this world without the suffering of Christ. Your food, America, Every stability and democracy and government that's in this world is made off this book. Donald Trump puts his hand on this book when he gets inaugurated. The lawyers put their hand on this book. When you go to court, they put their hand on this book. Everything, man. I remember back in the day when you wouldn't even have a Constitution of America if it wasn't for this book. They were Protestants. Your car was made by Henry Ford. His parents came from Ireland. He grew up a Catholic. If it wasn't for the discernment and the Holy Ghost being put upon his, diligent upon his people, that's what gave him the inclination to build the car. The car is made off the word of the Most High. Now, everything you know in this world is made off the suffering of Christ. But you got these jakes running around here. You got these people running around. Oh man, I'm an atheist, all that. Then once you get out of America, because you wouldn't have America without Christ. You wouldn't have nothing without Christ. You wouldn't have anything. The Crusades, the Byzantine Empire, the Catholic Roman Church, who's the biggest mogul and kept everything together. Everything you can think of comes off the suffering of Christ. You can't tell me anything about the Mashiach. You can't tell me that he didn't exist. You can't tell me the reason why you got clothes on your back is because of suffering of the Mashiach. Because they came here, because Columbus came with the book looking for Hebrews to find the lost Hebrew. He had Hebrew speaking scholars with him. The reason why they found America, the reason why they brought these niggas over here because about the reason why cotton, everything you got on is cotton, was made by black folks. Everything you can think of was produced and was made by this book and by the suffering of Christ. And let me tell you another thing out. And let me tell you how heartless and sorry these people is, because at the same time he was going around healing people. He was going around feeding people. He didn't ask for anything. But I bet you this is one thing, because all these guys out here, they don't talk about Christ. They don't talk about the Messiah. They don't worry about the Messiah. I don't think they worry about spitting precepts to show that they smart. But they don't got no love for him. You know what I'm saying? Like certain individuals of us love him and realize the pain and the suffering and the persecution. Why? Because these guys are not being persecuted. If you were really being persecuted, you'd be serious about this. If your life was really on the line, you'd be serious about this. You'd have some fine you. A lot of these guys ain't got fight. They just put on these old fancy garments and they knowledge, but you just can't feed into them. I want you to look at this right here. Luke chapter 8, verse 46. But Yahaw, hold on. Excuse me. We're going to go to, no, we're not going to go to Luke. Where is it at? Oh yeah, we're going to go to Isaiah 53 and 4. Surely he bore our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten of Yahweh, and afflictions. Surely he was borne our griefs. He carried and wore our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet was esteemed and stricken and smitten by Yahweh and afflicted. A lot of guys are going to sit up there and they're going to argue about this. Christ was sick. He was walking around. He was being hunted. He was being chased. He was being hunted. He was being chased. He was going through a lot, and he was sick. He was physically had ailments while they were trying to kill him. I want this to sink in your head. He was smitten and stricken and smitten and afflicted by the Most High. Because people think this is like Harry Potter or something, like you say a magical spell. No, because you have to, in order, when you deal with these worlds, you give and you receive through certain things. Why you think you had to sacrifice? Why you think you eat this and that and this? So in order for him to have this type of power, it had to be something upon him. I'm going to look right here. Luke chapter 8, verse 46. But Yahaw said, someone touched me, for I perceive that my power has gone from me. When he was in the crowd and a woman snuck through and she touched him, she was so filthy and so sick, it zapped something straight up out of him. He turned around and he looked and he immediately said, someone has touched me, and I perceive they have taken power from me. Every day this man woke up. He was sick. That's why he drank a lot of wine, I believe. And every time he healed somebody, it took a strain on him. He had to take those in. You know John Coffey, you think they just got that from nowhere when he healed people and all of a sudden they showed you they perpetrated him to be like the Messiah and he spit that stuff out and he was getting sicker and sicker. You don't understand. This man was the truth, man, and he suffered and they still was trying to knock his head off, trying to kill him. And he walked around healing people and he was sick. Who else was another prophet that was, excuse me, Salakia. Who else was another prophet? Who y'all love so much? I love too. Paul. He said, take this thorn from my flesh. He was sick as well. With great power, these things have to happen like this. For some situations. So, I just wanted people to think about that real quick as we do this study lesson. And we go around and we say, oh, he's not real, he's not this. And like I said, I want to go back over this real briefly. The laws, the statutes, look at the Statue of Liberty. She's holding the tablet of the commandments. Everything is built off the suffering of Christ. Man, he died for everyone, right? Well, the whole world is benefiting off of his death. So he did die. I guess that's a fulfillment of prophecy. The whole world is benefiting off the death of Yahawashi. And then on top of that, not only that, but I mean, Europe, America, Islam, Middle East, all the technology, all the technology has his stamp on it. Everything has a stamp. So how can they say, oh, we don't need this is fake and this and that and this, but yet if that is, then kill yourself because this is his world. Or go to some place where where his influence is not influenced and made a place livable or habitable. Even in Africa, everywhere you go, Central South America, everywhere you go is him. He's scattered and he's touched all the sea. That's what the prophecy of Cephas, he said, right? He said he's going to gather the sheep. He's going to, this can't be by, because if it's by God, you'll know. So evidently 2,000 years later, we know that he was the Messiah because everything is influenced by him. But y'all think that y'all hard with a couple of tattoos and all this and all that, but y'all ain't nothing because a nigga knock your head off. I can't stand a Gentile or a heathen. You know what I'm saying? Especially one that don't want to even adhere to the blessings and the gifts and the suffering and the pain that this man went through. And the 12 disciples went through. All of them were killed as well. How prophets are being killed. How, come on, man, this stuff, if it wasn't real, why did the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, the local police force, the secret government branches, why are they all trying to kill the people out here on the hedges and highways who's preaching this word? Why they got surveillance on all the prophets then if it's not real? Because let me tell you something. If you got billions of dollars and it's not nothing real, you're not worrying about Comic-Con, fool. The only thing you're going to worry about is something that's real. Y'all the damn dummies. And really, I don't care about them people coming out there teaching everybody, because if you don't get it, you don't get it. We don't need you. You know what I'm saying? This is for the elect. This is for the people that want to be the elect. Because if you ain't going to get on board, we don't care if you burn. We don't care what you got going on. Because we know this book is real. This is a prophetic book that's been telling the truth for the last 3,000 years. You can't tell me shit. Your school ain't shit. Your college ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? And what you niggas think that you hard on, you think you tough. Let me tell you something. You can't touch a man with spiritual power. You don't even know what the Holy Comfort is. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You don't even have that. We're going to go down here, Matthew 19:16. When he said, why callest me good? There is none good but the Father. And we're going to go back to that. It says, because you got to keep the commandments. So I kind of went overboard, Even the atom bomb, man, is off the. Come on, man, it made the world sit still and behave. The atom bomb from the so-called fake Jews who stole our heritage and made the atom bomb. Come on, man, everything is made off a Yahaw Yahawashi. I hope y'all were edified in this brief lesson. I didn't mean for it to go this long, but I mean, I had to put it out there because I was really, really hurt about the attack on the Bible. I was hurt about the attack on Christ. I'm not going to go and do it anymore. I just couldn't believe that these people who were eating and feasting and living it up off the suffering once again, a black man who died in front of his mama with his hands up. Sounds just like a brother today. He died just like that. Who they took him and they just, But I mean, at the end of the day, what can we do about it, man? They got a lot of, and then we got a lot of these so-called teachers out here who don't really teach. Who just all they want to do is do vain lessons on salvation and all that when they need to be talking about him, the suffering, and what is going to transpire now. Because once we start talking more about him, because he's telling us what's going on in Matthew 24, he's telling us how it goes down and everything like that. And there's going to be a lot of people who's going to fall short. I hope they was edified. Once again, we would say, Brakata Yahaw, Brakata Yahawashi, Koho Lord, Yahaw, Bashem Bahasha, Kurakadesh, Bashima Masha, Masiak Yahawashi. Praise and blessings. I want to give a shout out to all the camps. I feel all the camps, IUIC, HOI, Light of Zion, especially GMS. They are awesome. We got Sakari. They're awesome. All the brothers that's doing the work on the hedges and highways, I know I'm leaving some camp of Yahawashi. I know I'm leaving some guys out. I mean, all the brothers and all the sisters that are sincere, that are doing this work and preparing, that are preparing for Jacob's trouble, because that's what it is. It's you play all you want to, but they got some stuff coming. And with that, I want to say, Shalom.